gonna be honest with you guys, I'm a little concerned for Animal Crossing Year 2. Hey everybody, I'm Jammer, and today we're gonna do a little bit of an unscripted video because I've been getting a lot of questions about what we could see coming to Animal Crossing this year in Year 2 of the game being out. So this will kind of be a retrospective of Year 1, looking forward into Year 2 of the game being out, and just kind of getting a good idea to level expectations of what we can kind of see to come eventually down the road to this game. But of course, if you're already new here, feel free to subscribe. This YouTube says something about the percents. I don't know. I don't want to really check the graph right now. But if you do love Animal Crossing, we do a ton of that here, and I highly encourage you to join our awesome community. Anyways, thanks for listening to all that. Let's get into this little rant / explanation. Animal Crossing New Horizons came out at a very interesting time, a very interesting period in history for that matter. It goes without saying, of course, a lot of people were at home, a lot of people were looking for social interaction with friends and stuff, and it really came out at a perfect opportune moment where definitely a lot more people got into the series beyond just Animal Crossing fans. You know, it brought in a lot of new people to the series. It was a great way to like interact with other people and play together. And because of that, the audience that this game catered to is a wide spectrum. There's the people who played the game when it first came out, played for a month, and then never touched it again. You know, like they just completed Project KK, and then they're like, I've had my experience, I'm done. On the way other end of the spectrum, there's people who are still playing every single day, hunting villagers, redoing their island over and over. What I'm trying to say is there's a wide variety of different kind of gamers that play this game. So when it came to bringing updates to this game, as they talked about in the direct before the game came out, like, you know, they already had a lot of things planned. They planned to bring all of the traditional holidays we've seen in previous Animal Crossing games. And while to series veterans like myself, and probably many of you as well, we've played or interacted with a lot of these characters before. We've done the Halloween event with Jack, we've participated Toy Day with Jingle before in previous games, but of course you gotta keep in mind for people whose first game in the Animal Crossing series is New Horizons, you know, this is the first time they're actually playing these holidays. So while there was a decent amount of brand new content coming with these new updates, a lot of it was bringing back old returning features. I know there's been a lot of point of argument about that like, oh, all the new updates are just bringing back old stuff. There really isn't a lot of new content coming to the game, but we got to remember that there is a lot of people who are experiencing all these holidays for the first time ever in this game. So to a lot of people, to a big fraction of the Animal Crossing New Horizons community, this is all brand new content. So having all those new holidays being worked on continuously throughout the rest of the year to be brought out in updates, that was always planned since the beginning. I've said it before and I'll say it again, my favorite update was the first spring update that came out when the game first came out, because it just felt like it brought so much. Not only did it bring Crazy Red, it brought the upgraded museum with the paintings and art, it brought a ton of new holidays like Museum Day, May Day Tour, Wedding Season, and while some of them are smaller than others, they're not really big formalized holidays, it still felt like there was something new to do every single week for multiple months after the game released. As we got later in the year with later updates, the updates kind of started to get smaller and smaller. There was some new things introduced like the fireworks festivals, the diving suits. Then of course, as we got later into the year, the updates got just a little bit smaller, whereas the scope was really just the new holiday at the time, as well as like a handful of emotes. And now we're here at the dawn of the year anniversary before we go into the second year of Animal Crossing New Horizons. Nintendo has gone on record saying before in an interview that they plan to support Animal Crossing New Horizons for the next 3 to 5 years. But of course, the thing to think about is like, even on the 5th year of this game coming out, if they just provide one small update, whether it's just like a couple of new furniture or whatever, that's technically still supporting the game for 5 years, you know? So, because just how game development works, and with that in mind, like, the first year of these new updates is going to be the most amount of updates this game is ever going to get. That's just how it's going to be, right? The first year is going to bring the most content to the game it'll ever get as updates. Every year to follow after this game is released is going to have less and less updates. That's just how it works, right? So with that in mind, that's just kind of something to think about going into this next year, Year 2 of Animal Crossing New Horizons. I think it's very likely that the updates are going to be slowing down. They've already started to slow down since over the summer and the release of the game, and they've been getting smaller and smaller, and I think that trend is going to continue throughout the year, which is kind of a bummer, but I think it's still realistic to expect. A lot of people have been clamoring for Brewster to return to the game, back to New Horizons. He was the coffee shop owner in previous games, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't want him to come back. Don't get me wrong, I miss him. He's a great character. But if you really break it down, but what does Brewster really offer as far as unique gameplay experiences? Like, in the previous games, all you would do is pay 200 bells, get a cup of coffee, your Animal Crossing character would be like, wow, that was tasty. and that's about it. If you really break it down, all it really was a new dialogue box. It was a new building and a new dialogue box. That's all it was. If you really think about it, it didn't really add much gameplay to the game. And so sure, it would be cute to have your villagers go to a cafe here in New Horizons, and they could add some other features like the part-time job again, although I thought that was pretty boring, honestly. But what I'm trying to say is, if they did bring a cafe, a Brewster or the Roost or whatever to New Horizons, not to say that they might not. I definitely could see them at some point maybe throwing it in like the second level of the museum or something. But like, if you really think about it, I don't see it adding much more value to New Horizons. You'll probably go a good amount, like the first week it comes out, but after a while, what are you gonna, there's really no point to be getting coffee every single day if you really think about it. The thing I'm looking forward to the most, for as far as updates coming to New Horizons, is like brand new features, new gameplay experiences. I think the thing that appealed to me the most about New Horizons, at least for me personally, was of course the terraforming tools, because it was something brand new that's never been in Animal Crossing before. And year 2 does set themselves up for a very unique opportunity where, you know, they've kind of got out all the more traditional holidays out of the way. There already is Halloween and Toy Day and Turkey Day, and all those traditional holidays are now in the game, of course. Year 2 sets them up for the very unique opportunity to where they can start to get creative. They can start bringing in brand new, really unique updates that are totally different than what we've seen before. And that's what's kind of cool about the idea of prospective going forward here in year 2, that every update to follow is completely going to be unknown for us. When the game first came out, we already knew what holidays were coming to the game. They announced that, don't worry, we're bringing back Festivale, we're bringing back Turkey Day, blah, blah, blah. And so we kind of already had a good framework or an understanding of when updates would theoretically come out, when we would expect to get trailers, and what would of course come with said updates. But that's what's really cool about this next year is, going forward, they can bring whatever they want to the game. On the one hand, there's definitely going to be less updates than there was of year 1 of Animal Crossing, but year 2 excites me even more because this gives the developers the opportunity to get creative and experiment and introduce really fun and new ways to play. One thing I've touched on before, and this kind of goes in line with what I was talking about with Brewster previously, as far as new updates, I really want new day-to-day stuff. I want my day-to-day routine in Animal Crossing to be changed. While these new holiday events are very fun, and it's like cool to see all the new furniture and interact with the new holiday host characters, but if you really think about it, it's just like one specific day of the year where you celebrate this holiday. Like, there's just one event where you play some new stuff, and then the next day passes, and beyond you keeping the furniture, the new emotes, clothing, or whatever, it doesn't really affect much going forward. To better explain it, rather than like the seasonal update holidays that we've been getting, where it has like a specific day where there's an event you can hold, and then the next day just things goes back to normal life, we've already seen previous updates where I'm more talking about, like, for example, the introduction of Crazy Red, you know, a new collectible that can go in the museum, building off that diving suit, a new way to interact with the game, going swimming, collecting the new fish, the pearls used to collect the mermaid furniture, donating those to the museum. That adds a lot of new stuff to the game, new things you can do on a daily basis. And that's the thing more I would like to see come with new updates this year. While Brewster could maybe provide those things, I don't think introducing a new shop like that is really going to add that much to the game. More than anything, I would love to see some form of Tortimer's Island from Animal Crossing New Leaf to return in some form. I don't mean exactly a carbon copy, I don't mean the same exact thing, but just the same similar idea. A place where you and multiplayer friends can go together outside of your towns, where you can meet up and interact together, but more than just that, you can actually play sanctioned mini games together. Especially for the fact that Animal Crossing New Horizons is 8-player compared to previous Animal Crossing games that were only up to 4. There's so much more of an opportunity for even more interesting multiplayer experiences here in New Horizons. Sure, it's fun to hang out on your friends' islands, check on each other's designs and stuff, but to have like sanctioned, formalized minigames, like stuff you can do and collect together, will add so much more value to the game than just adding some coffee shop where you spend a couple of bells and you drink a cup of coffee. Does that make sense to you guys? I'd love for them to bring a new area you can go to, similar to kind of like Harv's Island, somewhere outside of your island you can go visit, whether it's like a city or a Tortimer's Island or a little multiplayer hub of some sort where you and your friends can all go together so you can go shopping, interact with one another, take photos. But more than just that, I would love the return to see if some new sanctioned minigames coming back. Whether they bring back the similar ones we saw in New Leaf, where you like go on the fruit tour where you collect a bunch of fruit to like complete a bingo card, where you go on a fossil tour where you collect a bunch of specific fossils, a matching minigame, a pseudo fishing or bug tournament. There's a lot of easy to incorporate minigame modes that would add so much value to the game, but also like to your multiplayer experiences in New Horizons. That would be something that would drastically change your day-to-day playing, because when you would want to play with friends and stuff, you could invite a bunch of people to this new island, to this new place where you can play all these games together. Or you could even tackle them alone, play these mini games by yourself, just like you could in New Leaf. Or even beyond that, maybe you could even queue up with randos. Rather than like specifically playing with friends, you could just play a collection of fun mini games all together with a bunch of random people. There could be in-game rewards for completing these mini games, whether exclusive furniture or clothing, perhaps like a new currency you could exchange for these new things at like a shop or something. And there's ways to also incorporate value to playing these minigames, beyond just having fun playing them, whether with strangers, alone, or friends. But there's also ways for the game to reward you for that as well, by giving you tangible items that you can later put somewhere in your town. Make Phineas the Sea Lion, like the multiplayer hub of like a little carnival island or something, where you can play a bunch of minigames with your friends. With all that said, I think Animal Crossing is in a really great spot. For being as an absolute massive success as it was last year, being the second best-selling Switch game of all time. It would be quite neglectful of Nintendo to ignore the fact that it's so successful. Like, I think it's quite obvious that they're going to continue to plan to support this game as much as they possibly can, considering how many people have this game. So it's going to be really interesting to see their take on year 2 of New Horizons, what kind of updates they're going to bring to the game. While they'll probably be fewer and spaced out more, I'm really interested to see what kind of updates they plan to bring. Like, after this Mario update, what is going to be the announcement for the next one? Is it just going to be a general, hey, look forward to a summer update? But I think what's even more exciting about the success of Animal Crossing New Horizons is it just means that likely Nintendo is going to push a focus more on it, as well as the series in general. There's a high chance that right now, a group of Nintendo developers are probably working on a new Animal Crossing spin-off game. With the success of this franchise, it only makes sense for Nintendo to keep making new Animal Crossing games. And while they don't really need a new mainline title, because New Horizons can get plenty of new free updates and support, it would be very smart of them to start shifting focus and pushing some of their assets on to start working on new Animal Crossing titles and develop new experiences within this IP. I think it's very likely, as we go through this second year of Animal Crossing with these new updates and such, that it would make a lot of sense that on the side, another team's working on a brand new game, a totally different Animal Crossing spin-off that could maybe even release as soon as next year. And that excites me to no end. I'm so thankful that New Horizons has been so successful, that it's brought so many people together, the fact that it's just such a fun game. But even more than that, that because of this success, it's going to enable Nintendo to make even more Animal Crossing content for us, which is only a win-win-win for everyone all around. But what are your expectations for Animal Crossing Year 2? Have you been satisfied with the updates that have been coming to the game? Do you have any thoughts on what you would like to see come next? Definitely let me know that in the comments below. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big awesome like, and if you haven't already, definitely subscribe for tons more on Animal Crossing New Horizons. As a reminder, we do stream this game every weekend at 10 a.m. Eastern right here on YouTube Live. That's both Saturdays and Sundays. Be sure to follow me over on my socials, as well as join our community Discord. The link that is in the description below. It's a great place to find friends to play Animal Crossing with, share your dodo code, trade items and stuff. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of people who would love to be your friend and play Animal Crossing with you. So I definitely highly encourage you to check that on out. Thanks again, guys, so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!